Iryna Zarutska. This was a horrendous scenario to watch unfold. And sadly, it unfolded and went about a week or two without the security footage even being released or made public at all because, of course, I believe it was North Carolina, they wanted to cover this up. It finally went public. Everyone was outraged about it, including Charlie Kirk himself. It was the final post that he made on X, if memory serves correctly, before he himself was assassinated. And of course, when that happened, I had a video made about this poor woman who was murdered on the subway train. I was set to release it. Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and that just took over my own thoughts, let alone everything else going on in the media for the next 2 weeks. And we're never going to forget Charlie, and we're going to continue to honor his legacy and continue to talk about him. I'm sure more developments will happen, but we cannot forget this. And the Democrats, trust me, they want you to forget her. Iryna's law. The North Carolina House GOP and North Carolina Senate have passed this law, and now we're just waiting on the governor of North Carolina, and we'll cover him in a second. But Iryna's law, this is what's being set up in honor of her now over this. Bail and pretrial release. Violent offenses must go before a judge within 48 hours instead of a magistrate. We're going to cover why that's important in a second as well. Limits quick release for serious crimes. Tougher pretrial standards. The magistrate oversight. The Chief Justice gains the power to suspend magistrates. Again, I'm going to tell you why that's important. Because magistrates must record factual findings on bail decisions. Failure could trigger a removal. Also in Iryna's law. The death penalty resumption. Streamlines capital appeals. Imposes strict deadlines. These death penalty cases, capital punishment cases that go on for far too long. Requires lethal injection. Permits backup methods. Mental health and safety, expands grounds for involuntary commitment. District attorneys get a formal role in hearings, and also orders a study on the link between mental health and public safety. Now, when it comes to the topic of the magistrate, let's cover that first. Teresa A. Stokes, the magistrate who was responsible for releasing the violent man back out into the streets who wound up taking Iryna Zarutska's life for literally no reason. We've learned, the internet that is, a lot about this woman. First and foremost, I want to say one of the most shocking things that I've learned is that this magistrate doesn't have a law degree to our knowledge, and to our knowledge has not passed a bar exam. So she's not a lawyer, she has no law history, none of that. She was appointed by another judge, from what I've read. And there she is serving, with no real actual education on the matter, or no prior history of experience. And so this, of course, made people naturally very outraged. Now, some more information has come out about her. Despite the fact that she is serving as a magistrate in North Carolina, it appears that she runs this Second Chance Services, which of course states, we are a mental health and addiction clinic in Charlotte, North Carolina, offering peer support services, therapy, substance abuse treatment, dual diagnosis care, telehealth services, and court-ordered evaluations. And so now, of course, the theory is developing. Is Teresa Stokes light on crime and quick to release criminals because perhaps Second Chance Services benefits when she does? Perhaps she could leverage the power of the courts to order people into her clinic that she runs and profit off of it? We can't be sure of that just yet, but many people are calling for investigations into this matter. And on top of that, again, going back to Iryna's law that we're trying to get passed here, violent offenses must go before a judge within 48 hours instead of a magistrate. That seems to make a lot more sense now, doesn't it? The Chief Justice gains power to suspend magistrates. Magistrates must record factual findings on bail decisions. Rather than just giving this bail, these Democrat policies are what are harming society, and that's why they want you to forget about Iryna. And that leads me, of course, to the governor now of North Carolina, Josh Stein. He seems to be the holdup here when it comes to Iryna's law, and he was asked outright on CNN just the other day about what the deal is with Iryna's law and what his thoughts are on it. Take a listen.
Earlier this week in North Carolina, the state legislature passed Iryna's law, a criminal justice package named for the Ukrainian refugee who was murdered on Charlotte's light rail system last month. The bill would limit bail, ensure more defendants undergo mental health evaluations, and notably could help restart executions. The bill is on your desk, Governor. Will you sign it?
Well, I'm reviewing it as we speak. It's a complicated bill, but here's the thing. That young woman was a light. I've met with her family. She was a special person. She was friendly to everyone she came into contact with. She loved animals. She loved art. She was hardworking. She was really making a life here. She came 3 years ago from war-torn Ukraine, trying to come to a peaceful place where she could have that brighter future. And she was really happy here. Her death is an absolute travesty, horrific. What we need to do is make sure that in response, we are going to take measures to keep our community safer.
I'm not going to just keep playing the video, but I can summarize the last part of it there as well as the whole video for you. He doesn't directly answer the question about passing Iryna's law. Probably because, in truth, he's opposed to it. Just like all Democrats are opposed to it. You can see right here, too. These are some statistics from the page on Twitter called, well, X, National Conservative. In the North Carolina Senate, 77.8% of 36 whites, non-Jewish, voted yes on Iryna's law. 0% of the 10 black people voted yes. There are 2 outspokenly Jewish members, an Arab, and I don't even know how to say that word, but a person from India. 0% of all of those voted yes either. Overall, the vote was 56% yes, 16% no, and 28% not voting. Now, of course, this is Governor Josh Stein's official X page where he does state on September 8th, I am heartbroken for the family of Iryna Zarutska, who lost their loved one to this senseless act of violence, and I am appalled by the footage of her murder. We need more cops on the beat to keep people safe. That's why my budget calls for more funding to hire more well-trained police officers. I call upon the legislator to pass my law enforcement recruitment and retention package to address vacancies in our state and local agencies so they can stop these horrific crimes and hold violent criminals accountable. All right, not a terrible tweet. It's also the only tweet, because you can see here, I have in the search bar under his page, Iryna Zarutska. I want to see how many times this guy has talked about this. And you scroll down, and it just goes immediately to June 24th, 2020. He couldn't have been talking about Iryna there. April 22nd of this year, once again, couldn't have. And so this is the only tweet that I can find him actually even talking about Iryna Zarutska. But how many times did he talk about the death of George Floyd? You can see here, this was one of his tweets. My heart aches for the family of George Floyd. And he says, my heart aches for the family of George Floyd. His death was so senseless and wrong. The actions of the officer so heartless and cruel. Like so many of you, I have experienced a range of emotions from outrage to anger to profound sadness to resolve. So we can stop this from happening in our country. We must recruit public-spirited people into law enforcement, train them to de-escalate situations, monitor their performance, and hold them accountable for their actions. I thank the North Carolina Sheriff's Association for its statement on Mr. Floyd's death, describing the law enforcement conduct as unprofessional, egregious, and inexcusable. The sheriffs declare that this conduct cannot be tolerated and must be swiftly addressed by the law enforcement community and criminal justice system. I wholeheartedly agree. Our nation suffers from a legacy of racism that over generations has become institutionalized in our healthcare system, our economy, our education system, and our criminal justice system. Each one of us must do our part to confront this stain, and that obviously includes law enforcement. Justice requires it. This had me curious, of course, because this was posted by the Libs of TikTok page, and so I wanted to know, in comparison to the one tweet that Josh Stein put out for Iryna Zarutska's death, how many tweets has he put out about George Floyd in the past? And so you can see right at the top of the search bar, searching the @North Carolina Governor official page for Josh Stein, searching the term George Floyd, you can see he tweeted about it here. He tweeted about George Floyd here. He tweeted about George Floyd here. He tweeted about it here. You can see he tweeted about it here, 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 here. I've already lost count. How many? Is that 7, 8? I'd say 7 or 8, right? And so what we're looking at is like a 7 to 8 to 1 ratio by this guy on how much he cares in comparison to Iryna Zarutska. Now, mind you, George Floyd, we already know from an autopsy result, died of an overdose. That is scientific and medical fact, according to the autopsy report. But the outrage publicly over George Floyd's death was there, even by their own governor, compared to, once again, this poor Ukrainian girl, who, by the way, when she was done up with makeup and everything, that you see, when you can see what she looked like, she had a lot of possibilities going for her. And she chose to come here in America rather than do OnlyFans. She decided to work for a pizza parlor and hold an honest job, and she was murdered for it on her way home after a long day of work. Senselessly. On camera, senselessly. Does Governor Josh Stein care that much, though? I don't think so. Not from what I'm seeing in comparison. He seems to have cared a lot more about George Floyd than he cares about Iryna Zarutska. When it comes to the problem here, systemically, it's Democrat in North Carolina, and this summarizes it perfectly. Top left there, you have Governor Josh Stein, who will not sign Iryna's law and dodges the question about signing it. Right on CNN, won't answer it. Dodges around it. Tells us how wonderful of a person Iryna was and how much her family cares about her. That's his answer to the question. To the right there, you have a Democrat judge, Roy Wiggins, I think his name is. He refuses to fire the Democrat magistrate on the bottom left there, Teresa Stokes. And then there's Teresa Stokes. And she won't stop freeing the criminals, releasing them on bail. Violent murderers, violent people. I mean, the guy who murdered Iryna Zarutska was a known schizophrenic with incredible mental health issues, and his own mother actually pleaded with the courts to keep him locked up, and they wouldn't. The magistrate decided, no, we'll put him out on the streets anyway. She's all about freeing people, criminals. And there you have Iryna Zarutska, bottom right, and she paid for all of this, Democrat policies, with her own life. The message needs to be clear. We have not forgotten about this girl, and we demand justice for her, and we demand policy change for her. And we demand the kind of policy change that not only needs to take effect in North Carolina because of this, but it needs to be adopted by every other large city in America. All of these large blue cities full of crime like this. Something needs to be done, and it is definitely Democrat policies, soft on crime policies, that are causing tragedies like Iryna Zarutska's death to occur in the streets. It has to come to an end. And we need to apply pressure to these politicians to create the change that needs to happen. Because if it's left to just Josh Stein, and if this can float under the radar long enough, I have a feeling he's not too anxious to sign Iryna's law into effect. It's truly a disgrace.